Thank you. We're going to do questions and contributions from the floor, and we may have time for the speakers to come back at the end. We may not. But we're going to have to be quick. But first, Peter from Biofuel Watch, quickly.
Thank you. I'm very grateful for being given 3 minutes to address bioenergy at this conference. Yesterday I was at the launch in Parliament of the 8th campaign, and I don't want to disparage Oxfam or ActionAid, but compared to this it was like a Mooney wedding. They were saying, we're going to show those people in government what we can do, and I don't think they're capable of doing very much. I will return to that. But following on from Kevin Anderson's reference to biofuels earlier this morning as a renewable energy source, I feel it's imperative to just outline a few of the issues relating to biofuels in general. You should be aware of the problems with transport biofuels. And the problems with transport biofuels have been apparent since 2007, and they can be amplified in the instance of a new initiative that's happening across Europe, across the UK and across the world, which is biomass incineration for energy generation. And this requires volumes that, compared with transport biofuels, it's in multiples. It's horrendous, the impacts on the environment that this is going to have. But as I say, we know from transport biofuels that the life, if you take into account the full life cycle of from field to exhaust pipe, they equal and in some cases exceed the emissions, overall emissions of fossil fuels. By linking food to the price of oil, they have an inflationary mechanism built in, and this leads to price rises. But what is equally devastating to producers in the world is price volatility. No capability of depending on secure markets. Also, the impact on biodiversity, the impacts on soil depletion of the monocultures that are required to provide these feedstocks. Is hugely harmful. Now, in relation to the land grabs, this brings me to the IF campaign, which is sadly Oxfam and ActionAid and the other NGOs that are supporting it are providing a cloak for what is called the New Alliance for Food Security and Nutrition. And this, if you recall, Rio Plus 20 was largely scuppered because of an initiative of the UN chaired by Ban Ki-moon called CIFA. Actually, it wasn't chaired by Ban Ki-moon, it was chaired by our old friend Lord Brown, and included Shell, BP, and lots of the other major energy and chemical companies deciding for the world how our energy should be provided. And they're now doing this with food and nutrition. Now, biomass, Britain is being used as a laboratory. We've got Tilbury, we've got Drax converting from coal to biomass. This means that Britain, which produces 1 million tonnes of wood every year, will be importing 9 million tonnes at the most conservative estimates to provide electricity power generation. Now I've got to conclude because Jonathan is whispering in my ear, but I would like to conclude by saying that we have a campaign underway in London that you can all support us in. I have a stall across there, it's got a big Biofuel Watch flag on it. Please come, take our leaflets. Battersea Power Station has been bought by a development company called Sime Darby. Sime Darby have Malaysian contacts. They're largely a Malaysian corporation. And their intention is to burn palm oil for heating and power in the Battersea Power development, and also to fuel local extended office and residential developments eventually on the palm oil that will be generated from within the Battersea Power Station. I wanted to talk about jobs briefly because that's why we're here. The Wood Panel Association and the Wood Salvage Association, you may have seen the full page ads that No Board have put into the Guardian decrying the use of biomass because it costs the wood industry. It's devastating the wood salvage industry. 12 companies went out of business in 2012. There's 3 power plants that are going to burn straw in East Anglia. And the Renewable Energy Agency and the government are claiming that this will provide 120 jobs, 40 jobs per power station. Burning straw, the straw that will be used, the volumes, again, this is about mass volumes of incineration. that could cost 10,000 jobs in East Anglia in the pig industry. The jobs equations are utterly imbalanced. Also, Atlanta, let me just say in Atlanta, the dockers are striking. They're taking industrial action, and they will be striking probably to stop American trees being sent to Britain to burn in our power stations. Please come to the stall and take our recess about privacy. Thank you.
Who wants to ask questions, say something? Answer? Later.
Well, let me give you this. By the way, you don't need to shout. It projects. Right. Okay.
Who else?
Hi there, my name's Ollie. I'm from a group called Shift the Debt. They owe us. I'm just going to give a little plug to something for 1 minute. It's a demonstration and event next week, next Friday in Canary Wharf. It's about trying to make the links between the austerity and the climate crisis. We don't need to hear more about the fact that we know we're in a social crisis and an ecological crisis, and we have to find ways of unifying those crises in a broad front, in an alliance to take on the causes of those problems. If we don't make those alliances, we're in really big trouble, and we need to make those alliances live on the street. We can't just do separate campaigns. We need to be in public, we need to be changing the narrative, we need to be working together. So we're focusing on Canary Wharf next Friday as an icon of profiteering and capitalism and the decision making of the people who are doing the damage. We're supported by numerous groups in and around the London area. We'll be pointing the finger, talking about debt, having an assembly about alternatives, and saying that we need to change things dramatically and fast, and we need to do that together, and I hope you can all come next Friday afternoon, June the 14th. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chris Keane from Norwich. I'm organising a zero carbon carnival in Norwich on August 26th, the bank holiday Monday. The idea being that we just kind of start off this thing in Norwich, which is symbolic because Norwich is the home of the University of East Anglia, which is the source of the ClimateGate scandal, where they took an email out of context and used it to discredit the climate scientists. So the plan is to start it off in Norwich and get it expanding all through the world all the time. But the idea would be to bring in everybody who will gain from a zero carbon Britain, a zero carbon world. So what sort of jobs, what sort of organisations can anyone suggest might want to be involved?
Yeah. What I'm going to do, because we are behind, is I'm going to take one more person, then I'm going to ask each of the people on the panel who spoke to speak for 30 seconds, say one thing that you think is the most important thing, okay?
Thanks. We've heard a lot about the creation of green jobs. It seems to me, though, that to reach this ideal world that we all want, we're going to have to say goodbye to a lot of traditional jobs, such as, say, coal mining, car production, and so on. How would the panel propose dealing with that unpopular topic?
Okay. In the same order as we did before, I think.
I think, and answer the final point, the way to win the argument of how we get rid of all the jobs that we've currently got is to have a just transition. That's why we argue within the 1 million climate jobs that we set up a national climate agency in the same way that we've got a national health service, and that looks after every single worker who loses their job as a result of a shift in technology and a shift in the way that we do things. We retrain them, we make sure that people don't have to fear their jobs being lost. And if we can do that, I'm sure we can win trade unions over to do what we need to do to make sure that the next generation can enjoy this planet in the same way we've done.
Just following on from that, I mean, that's been the key discussion in Norway as well. And the reason why we began with the book saying 100,000 climate jobs and green jobs, and then the next book is scale down the oil industry, is because to seek as much support as possible, we begin with what we demand, and we also say that nobody should lose their job in the just transition that Manuel is talking about. But I think it's important to do both, and it's always a balancing act to do both. I think that for a trade union-led campaign, it's very important to focus also on the really important jobs that will cut emissions fast enough. and then say that the competence that you use, say in Norway for the oil platforms, can also use to be erect wind turbines off sea and so on and so forth. But to have the positive message as the beginning and then supplement it with the necessary transition perspectives.
Okay, that's it. Laura, you're next.
I just want to say it's really exciting to hear about all of the great work that's happening in the UK and in other parts of the world, and I think it's clear that our collective capacity to control and direct the energy system is pretty small at this point, but our prospects are tied to the prospects of trade unions and social movements and the political left in general growing more powerful in the years to come, and I think we can do it, and I think we need to build a trade union community on energy democracy, and I hope I'll be hearing from you all more about your eagerness to participate in it.
Yeah, we still need to physically confront and protest and come together in combative ways when it comes to taking these companies to task and this government to task, which is why I will be plugging Reclaiming Power this August. Get involved. Also, I want to second what Ollie said about Shift the Debt. Really important that people come together, be visible, inspire other people. That's how a lot of relationships are made. We need networks, we need strong relationships together, unions, social movements, everybody. And also big solidarity with the Fire Brigades Union. We need to stop any cuts against them. We need to empower them because they're going to be saving our lives. And also stop blacklisting. Everybody watch Panorama 8:30 p.m. Monday night and join the campaign to unionise Crossrail and to end the blacklist in this country. I'm a Unite the Union activist as well, and I'm part of that campaign. Thanks.
Just in addition to what people have said, I think we should also bear in mind that workers who work in carbon-intensive industries often would rather be doing something different. I mean, I doubt there's many coal miners in the world who wouldn't rather be doing a better job than going down the mine or the rest of it. And certainly every car worker I've ever met have talked about the ability to use their skills to make buses, to make trains and so on. And I think that's the way we pose it. This is a better future for everyone, including the workers. My final point, though, is to re-emphasise that climate jobs is not just about saying we want to reduce the destruction of the environment. It's also about having a better future. It's about having a vision of a world that's done in the interests of people and planet, not in the interests of profit. And I think that's really something we should take out as a message to the workforce out there.
And to sum it up, what the people at Camp Frack said was they were moving from being a movement of not in my backyard to being a movement of not on my planet. The next workshops, Fighting for Climate Jobs in the Unions, is on the ground floor in number 1. We'll do the announcements when we get to the next session.